Naexi here! Welcome to my third Luna theory. Today I'll be laying out the post-debut music videos and teasers and explaining them as I go along. If you haven't watched my pre-debut timeline or my explanation on the LOONAVERSE as a whole, this video probably won't make very much sense. So pause really quick and go watch the other two. Are you back? Okay, good. Another reminder that this is also my own personal theory with evidence presented to me from other orbits theories and thoughts as well. Please take it with a grain of salt, as some aspects of the LOONAVERSE have never been outright confirmed by BBC. Ready? Let's get into it! Now that we have set up the pre-debut timeline as well as Luna's background and who they are, we can dive into their post-debut era. This timeline looks a little different from the other one, so I'll explain the outline first. The Mobius I am referring to is a combined entity of the three planes that I laid out in my pre-debut timeline. I don't want to just call it Earth because I believe they continue to shift between the three planes throughout different music videos. But it gets pretty complicated in a way that I don't think I could illustrate with a graphic, so for the sake of ease, I'll just call it the Mobius. I've also added a new location, and I'm just going to call it the Moon. Picking right back up after Love and Live, we have Hi Hi. I won't go too into depth into Hi Hi because it's relatively self-explanatory if you have followed Luna up until this point. Now that each of the girls have remembered their purpose and their friends, they can finally reunite as one unit. The girls have broken the loop they have been stuck in for so long and run to meet up with each other. Yeojin was found by Hasil, Hyunjin was finally able to meet her mirrored counterpart, Chetty, and Kimlip met up with Heejin. The most powerful moment for me in this music video is when Odd Eye Circle surrounds Olivia Hay and transports her to Eve. Without the guise of the outside force clouding their judgment, they smile at each other and YY by Y is complete as well. Still to this day, watching this music video makes me cry a little because after being invested in their stories for so long, it's really satisfying to see it all come together. Between Hi Hi and Butterfly, the outside force strikes again, attempting to separate them once more. XX reverses all of Hi Hi and then creates two alternate timelines. The first timeline leads them back to the pre-debut era where the girls are once again stuck in a loop, but it ends with Favorite. This might seem a little odd because Favorite is basically a choreography performance. It has absolutely no signs of lore, and yet I found a way to sneak it in here. The girls are all dancing within this empty warehouse, or in this blank space with nothing around them. Favorite ends a timeline where the girls can no longer break free. They are truly boxed in and unable to escape. The second timeline created goes through X1X through X4X for all Lunas around the world and eventually to Butterfly. We see Go-Won fight against the outside force in X2X trying to fix the timeline. At first, she is seen chasing after something, and we see shots of a dreamcatcher paired with a car engine sound, so it seems to be the truck Hasil rides in during Let Me In. She sheds a former version of herself by removing a jacket, representing metamorphosis as her animal is a butterfly, and walking up to the plane shown in Let Me In. She then picks the feather from inside the plane, which I believe is a representation of the fact that Hasil was not successful in discovering herself during Let Me In. The boy version of Hasil is still alive. This causes disruptions in the timeline for a number of reasons. If Hasil is still searching for herself, she can't join the other girls. From there, it's a domino effect. 1/3 isn't reunited, and the rest of the girls don't have a chance to remember their history. So instead, Go-Won uses the feather to restore, in what I believe to be a physical representation of their memories, back to them. This is her butterfly effect on the LOONAVERSE. But at what cost? Their colors. After Hi Hi was reversed in XX, the very next teaser is X1X, which is almost exclusively in black and white. Their outfits in Butterfly are also all black and white, but they are still together. The next two teasers also have a lot of smaller details, but I won't go into depth. What's important is that they show Olivia Hay, Eve, and Shu push against the outside force and fight to fly, all leading up to the music video. And it's during Butterfly where Luna's true message is sent to us. Butterfly is about standing up for yourself, attaining courage, confidence, and strengthening your voice. A lot of orbits think Butterfly doesn't have much lore in it, And while the imagery of the music video is not what we are used to from their pre-debut music videos, the B-sides offer much more than we know. Their colors are not completely lost though. I'm going to go off on a little tangent, but I really want to talk about the Bside Colors. In the music video description for Butterfly, the section about colors reads that it has the Luna universe dissolved into the track, designed for each other's colors and dye each other to become love portrayed with a drop beat. There are 6 distinct pairs that are singing to each other, and they are also shown in the limited B photo cards that were included in the album. Eve and Chu, Kim Lip and Hodusae, Olivia Hae and Heejin, Hyunjin and Chetty, Jinsol and Gowon, and finally Vivi and Yeojin. Within the lyrics, their lines follow each other, and their choreography reflects this as well. Some pairings can be explained easily, and some can't, so I'm sorry for some missing narratives, but I'll try to explain it as best as I can. Chu and Eve perhaps make the most sense, because their destinies have been intertwined since the beginning, and they are also within the same subunit. Kim Lip and Hodusae, as far as I know, haven't interacted within the LOONAVERSE, but both of their representative animals are birds, their image colors are complementary, and the yellow truck from Let Me In also appears in Girlfriend. Heejin and Olivia Hae are the first and last girls revealed respectively, and they met at the end of Egoist. Hyunjin and Chetty are, as I mentioned in my pre-debut timeline theory, direct mirrors of each other. Their colors are also complementary, which to me means they are the Planet Fitness of the LOONAVERSE. Jinsol and Gowon are perhaps the hardest to explain. I cannot find a clear reason as to why they are paired, but if you have an idea, let me know in the comments. And last but not least, we have Yeojin and Vivi. They are both technically within the 1/3 unit, representing the slash and 1 respectively, and the only lyrics they sing to each other are, I go, I go, I go. This could be a reference to Vivi running in Love and Live, as well as Hi Hi, while Yeojin runs away in Kiss Later, but I'm not entirely sure. There is a final pairing, which is Yeojin and Jinsol, and while they aren't seen on a photo card like the other confirmed pairings, they do have lines right after one another in the song, and their colors are complementary as well. This is my favorite Luna song of all time, so I'm very fascinated with it. I believe the lyrics to be a metaphor for the girls reobtaining their colors once more. They've won in a sense by fighting to stay together no matter the cost, but their battle is not over. Following the events of Butterfly, I've placed hash through hash 3 between the Mobius and the moon because it's here we start to see the girls travel between the two. Hash begins to show us the burn imagery and the butterfly effect that Gowon had on the timeline. The bits of ++ being flashed across the screen are perhaps glimpses of the other timeline trying to peek through as the outside force once again attempts to separate the girls. Hash seems uncertain, shaky, but ends with burn in all caps across the screen, foretelling of an undeniable future. Hash 1 shows the other girls in quick bursts, before a singular Heejin is seen floating and then stepping on an invisible staircase. Around the time this teaser came out, there were a lot of Icarus theories going around because, as the story goes, he flew too close to the sun and his wings were melted, resulting in death. I definitely agree there are a ton of parallels between this story and the LOONAVERSE. The girls are constantly aiming higher and higher, with the ever-looming threat of failure. As most Orbids know, Hodusae took a hiatus during the Hash and Midnight eras, so although the music videos don't show a clear indication as to why she might be missing within the lore, it's fun to try to place a reason on why she is gone. Both Hash and Hash 1 show us the dreary location where Hodusae's solo was filmed, which to me signifies the point where she got stuck behind the others. Hash 2, Hash 3 show us the back of the moon, and as I mentioned in my previous video, Luna are preparing for a battle with the outside force. To all the Lunas around the world is also a very important teaser, because it mentions the moon reflects the light of the sun, which can also tie into the Icarus theory as well, and I'll explain more on that later. So What begins, stating the following: do not accept the fate of the moon, get off the track, reveal to the world the hidden side, burn yourself. In their fight against the outside force, they realized that they can no longer return to their original home on the moon and that they need to destroy it to obtain true freedom. They are mostly on Earth during So What, gathering the Lunas all around the world and spreading the message. In the official music video description, it says, "Through this album, LOONA want people to break out of the box, boundaries and prejudices, showing them to not be afraid to challenge yourself. It is possible to make different waves more than you can imagine if you challenge yourself with your passion, burn, and go forward." Olivia Hay begins the burning of the moon by setting it on fire, and flaming remnants begin to fall from the sky all around them. A lot of orbits don't believe So What is very lore heavy, and some would consider it the end of that particular storyline. It is in a sense, but I don't like to think of the LOONAVERSE as having a start and an ending. It is instead constantly evolving and expanding what we don't know. The music video ends with "I'm so free," confirming their mission was a success, and then shows a burning feather that seems to reverse and stop burning. Olivia Hay said herself the feather did not represent Hodusae, but a new start, and I truly believe that. For my theory's sake though, I like to believe it is a homage to Hodusae in her absence from So What. Hodusae may not be there physically, but the reverse of the burning of the feather signifies that she is working alongside them to burn the moon and begin again. Moving right into Why Not, the entire music video to me signifies the aftermath of So What, and the creation of the new moon that LOONA is trying to create. I've also placed the new moon teaser here as well, because they share different angles of the same footage and tie in some older lore elements as well. The official description of Why Not states, "A destiny discovered between coincidence and fate. LOONA has created a wave of change beyond imagination through Hash and has come to realize their true roles, to be pioneers for all Lunas of the world. To celebrate the new moon, LOONA is expecting a new moon to rise. On this occasion, they will hold a moonlight festival at midnight, when the moon shines the brightest, a festival where no girl will feel silenced." It is simultaneously a beginning and an end, but some of the girls have responsibilities to the new moon. Their new home must be sustainable, and through my interpretation, I see them creating the 4 elements. Heejin represents the wind with the thunder motifs, Chedi represents fire, Jinsol represents water, and Chu represents earth with the flowers all around her. Olivia Hay is in charge of creating the physical land, as shown by the car orbiting with flashes of the new moon. I don't believe they have represented these motives for the entirety of the LOONAVERSE, or that they will in the future, but more of a one-time occurrence in which they can show their use to each other and their new home. The girls break into different subunits than what we are used to, and celebrate with all Lunas around the world. Another excerpt from the music video description reads, "All of the Lunas across the globe will always be together, where we are all dignified, equal, and worthy of freedom. The united voices of the girls around the world rings loud and clear ahead of the start of the new moon." A lot of past locations are revisited, such as the alleyway from Sweet Crazy Love where Vivi is searching for Eve, but just barely misses her. I still can't quite come up with a reason for why this is. The new moon teaser suggests their particular storyline is not yet over, as shown by the roller skates, but maybe Vivi wanted to tell Eve that they were running out of time? Why Not also draws connections to the story of Cinderella, as shown by Hyunjin's missing shoe and the clock turning to midnight. Why would they be running out of time? Perhaps there is only a limited amount of time between the destruction of the old moon and the creation of the new one, and they have to ascend or else risk getting stuck behind. We also see Kim Lip in the same field from Love Cherry Motion, first with 3 orbs that represent Odd Eye Circle. Since Odd Eye Circle's powers were always the most prevalent, it makes sense they would be gathering the girls again in order to ascend at the right time. The field turns purple and the orbs are now 12, representing the mirrors that were once scattered in the same field. 12 orbs, but not all 12 girls are present. Chu is looking towards the burning moon, and off to the side we see a flaming object falling from the sky. This is not one of the many comments that we saw in So What, but it is actually the plane from Let Me In. I mentioned earlier that the story of Icarus also fit in the LOONAVERSE as well, and as told by the burning feather in So What, Perhaps Hodusae tried to ascend before the other girls and her wings, aka the plane, caught fire and shot her back down. The girls eventually make it to their new moon, shown dancing around the bonfire and combining their colors. But without Hodusae, they are incomplete, and they must reverse time just slightly so she can join them as well. Gowon is able to assist with that, showing the brewing hurricane that is reversed as well. Their shoes change from white to black Converse as they reverse, and in the end, Hyunjin left a singular shoe, and Gowon left a butterfly behind so Hodusae could find them. Hodusae is known to have a male counterpart, and could be interpreted as the prince from Cinderella picking up the shoe, but we have yet to see this. Yeojin, also representing a princess from Kiss Later, is seen standing alone and could be waiting for Hodusae. The music video kind of leaves off on a cliffhanger, and I'm really excited for Paint the Town to see what else they have in store. What about Star, you ask? Well, there isn't much new information in this music video, as in, I don't think it continues the story, but I do think it has a ton of symbolism. We do get flashes of a complete moon, which is different from the incomplete moon shown in Why Not. It also very clearly shows them in space, with galaxies and stars all around them. This is very different from the previous areas we've seen them in, and that confirms to me they were successful in creating their new home. There's also a lot of emphasis on certain girls spending time together that to me shows they are continuing to strengthen their bonds with each other. In particular, there is a lot of emphasis on Gowon, Yeojin, Vivi, and Hyunjin, and as we saw in Why Not, the four of them were together as well. In the beginning, a lot of them look uncertain and a little sad, joining hands and looking up, perhaps lamenting on the fact that Hodusae is not with them. But in the end, they continue to celebrate because they are free and have orbits by their side, as indicated by the description. The stars that appear throughout the music video represents orbits. I really love Star because it's so beautiful, and their glamour shots are truly out of this world. I'm looking forward to the new era that LOONA is ushering in, so make sure to tune into their comeback on June 28th with the new mini album and music video, Paint the Town. Wow, that was a lot, huh? If you've watched my theories up until this point, thank you so much. I'm so glad I was able to share them with you all, and I hope you learned something about the LOONAverse that you didn't know, or maybe you were inspired to make your own theories based on what I talked about. When Paint the Town releases, I plan to do a full analysis and review, as well as an MV reaction, so please look forward to it. If you haven't already, please subscribe for more LOONA content. Naexi out! Bye bye!